Hello and welcome, this is Oldmanpoole. M19 has come around to Magic Arena, so I'm jumping into one of those drafts today. Super excited to be here. There was a little bit of a delay with getting this released, and I wasn't actually able to take part in the Wizards preview event like I'd like to have, but I think everything seems to be all set now, so cool. Glad to be jumped into packs. I've got Remorseful Cleric as my rare here, which I think is fine, but not particularly exciting. A 2-1 flyer for 2 is good rate. I would play it pretty much in any deck, but it's not like nuts either. I think both Sift and Horizon Scholar are probably better. There's also a Millstone here if I want to try and go for Mill again. I've done that a couple times in the format, and it's pretty fun. I don't think it's super like high tier. You really need to get a couple of these effects, and even then I think you're looking at like a 2-1 kind of at the best of times, but the deck is fun. I don't think there's anything else here that really compares. Rule of the Cowl's pretty solid. Skymarsh Bloodletter's pretty solid. Everything else here is filler. There's a lot of like playable cards in here, but not nut stuff. I think I'm going to start off with Sift. I think it's better than Horizon Scholar. It's maybe close. Sift is a really powerful draw spell, though, and I think this is a format that really does reward draw spells, so I think we'll start with that. As always, I want to say thanks so much to everyone that subscribed to the channel and everyone that likes and comments on my videos. It really means a lot, helps other people find me on YouTube, and makes you all around just excellent folks. I actually have something I can give to you guys in return now. Usually you have to be satisfied with just my thank you, but because I was a part of that Wizard-sponsored streaming event, they've given me access to a handful of beta codes, and I'm going to be giving out 10 with this video. I guess I'll probably pin a comment, and anyone that is interested in being included in a raffle for those codes, go ahead and comment on there and just say, I want to be part of the beta, or whatever else. But it'll give you access to Magic Arena, and you can draft and play in this really fantastic limited environment. So if you guys are interested, comment to there, and I guess I'll go ahead and do a raffle, or if there are less than 10 of you, then you'll just all get codes. So happy to be able to do that. Out of this pack, we have, at first glance, a pretty easy Exclusion Mage, although I think that's actually a little bit closer than you might guess. I've been very impressed with the Gargoyle Sentinel, especially in blue-based decks, because there are a handful of artifact synergies, and Gargoyle Sentinel is one of the best artifacts. So it is close. I think I'm leaning towards Exclusion Mage. The Man of War effect is just very good, especially in a set that has some random auras running around and some costly enter the battlefield effects. But I think it's close. Angel of Dawn's also good, Fiery Finish is also good, but those kind of commit us to another color, whereas Gargoyle Sentinel and Exclusion Mage don't. I think they're all kind of on the same power level. Let's take the Mage here, but I think it's close. Ooh, so this is kind of interesting. We're seeing some really good white here. We've got Luminous Bonds and Angel of Dawn. We also have Meteor Golem, which I think if the game is going to go long, which Exclusion Mage doesn't work quite as well for that, but Sift works fine. I think Meteor Golem is definitely playable. And not terrible in Artifacts Matter stacks. There's a little bit of synergy there, although it's kind of too expensive to often make full use of the like Scholar of the Stars and that sort of a thing. I think I'm on Luminous Bonds here. Blue-white is a color combination I'm pretty happy to be, and Luminous Bonds is pre-premier removal. I think it's better than Angel of Dawn, although the Angel is good. Let's take Luminous Bonds. Okay, keeping it going here, we've got a Gearsmith Guardian, which I think is quite good as well. Another card that looks a little bit unimpressive at first glance, but is very frequently a 5/5 for 5, which is like fine on its own. But again, when you take into account that blue and actually blue-white have artifact synergies, Gearsmith Guardian can just really go through the roof for you. Anticipate's fine. I think you'll play it a fair amount of the time. Novice Knight I actually also think is a pretty fine defensive card, but I think they're both worse than Gearsmith Guardian. So we will take that. Johnny's Welcome I don't think is particularly good. I think the best card here is actually Salvager of Secrets. Could get us back Sift. That's a pretty big game. You need to make sure you've got some instants and sorceries you're really happy with for Salvager, and we're probably going to have to be getting those on the blue side of things, since white is a little bit less frequently, I guess, happy with those. I think I might take Rupture Spire here, though. This is nice. It's kind of clunky, but it does enable you to splash any color, and potentially lets you splash multiple colors. So I think taking a Rupture Spine early is actually kind of nice. Just gives us a lot of options later on in the draft. I guess let's take that. Blue is feeling kind of cut to me after our first couple of picks. I guess Gearsmith Guardian could come around, but that's not, like, I don't think that's a crazy high pick either. Invoke the Divine or Daybreak Chaplain. I think I want my first Invoke the Divine for the sideboard more than I want my first Daybreak Chaplain. Probably likely to get some more of each. Probably just take the Invoke, though. Minus any life gain synergies. Ooh, one with the machine's kind of interesting. With one Gearsmith Guardian already, this card might... I don't know, it may not actually be all that good. But I think Gearsmith Guardian is one of the better cards to go along with it, and I kind of want to try it out. This is... if we can manage to put together white, if it looks open enough in the next pack, blue-white is the deck for it. There's Totally Lost as well, if we're being a little bit more conservative, but let's take the Spicy Rare. So far we're playing, like, all card draw. Uncomfortable Chill is kind of a fine sideboard card. I think I'd rather take Meandering River and fix our mana just a little bit, though. There's some playable black cards. Hired Blade's probably the best one, although Bog Stomper's actually surprisingly good out of the sideboard. Pretty good sideboard card in Plummet as well, but not the direction we're looking. Okay, there's an Invoke the Divine again. Also a Loxodon Linebreaker. I think we might be in line for the Linebreaker at this point. We're going to need some more early plays. Even if it's not hyper efficient, it does block for us. Not a bad card. There's also Millstone. We could take that speculatively, but I feel like we already did the mill deck. I guess, well, it's not great with one with the machine either. Drawing 2 for 4 is quite a bit worse than Sift. Yeah, I think we're just going to take the Linebreaker. I will mill again at some point in this format, I promise. Tellurian Scholar, kind of fine. Trusty Pack Beast actually may well make the cut, especially if we get some of the artifacts that you can trade away, like the Creeper. What's that card called? The 2/1 Scarecrow something Creeper. I should probably know that. That's okay. Knight of the Tusk. Hopefully not making the deck, but not an absolute disaster if it does. I guess Hired Blade better than Blood Divination. Okay, I pushed pretty hard for blue-white here, and actually got a very good pack for us, man. I want to take Windreader Sphinx. We actually don't have a whole lot of synergies for it. That may not be correct. We've also got Psychic Symbiont, which is good, although it is off the splash. We're not terribly set up for that with the Meandering River and a Rupture Spire. Meandering River, even though it's a blue-white card, does let us maybe play like one extra black source in the deck, so it kind of can help a splash as well. There's also like Skyscanner and Gearsmith Guardian and Luminous Bonds. I guess realistically, if I'm not taking Windreader Sphinx, I'm taking the Bonds. We really afford to take the Sphinx. We don't really have synergies right now. We're not super unlikely. I mean, we may well find them. We have 3 drops. Yeah, you know, it's early. I'm taking the Bomb, I think. I actually think Luminous Bonds might just be the better pick, but I want to take the cool card. Let's see if we can make this work. It is very, very good on 7. It's very expensive, which is it's a pretty big drawback, but a 3/7 flyer blocks just about everything, and does start drawing you cards. Like, Rear Sphinx, potentially pretty good. So, interesting pack. Swiftclaw is playable. We may just need some 2-drops. There's a Dragon's Horde here, which we don't have any dragons for it. Right now it would just be Manalith, basically, but Manalith actually might be pretty good in this deck. It triggers with 1 with the machine quite well. Draw 3 is powerful. Helps us get higher up into the curve for things like Windreader Sphinx. We could also take Electrify and maybe splash just good removal. This is unlikely to be better than Manalith, and we'll probably have another chance at Manalith if we want it, so maybe we should just take Electrify and try and splash that. We may end up being a little bit light on removal. I think this is close. I think I'm leaning towards Electrify, though. I think we'll be able to get a Manalith if we want a Manalith. Okay, Explosive Apparatus, fine. We're actually not seeing too many synergies so far with artifacts, so maybe we just need to let that die. 1 with the machine is perfectly fine with a couple of Gearsmith Guardians if we pick those up. And if we don't end up playing that, that's not the end of the world either. Surge Mare has been good for me, although not nuts. We had synergies with artifacts, we might take Explosive Apparatus, but I think I'm taking that. Hungering Hydra is powerful. I'm not sure it's worth the splash, though. A lot of times this comes in, it's just like a 4/4. If your opponent has like combat tricks, it can be worse for you, but a lot of the time you can just answer this card. It's interesting because like baseline, it's kind of meh, and it has really, really high upside. When it works, it really works, but I think a lot of the time it's just kind of okay. I think I'm going to take Surge Mare here. It's just a fine 2-drop that maybe helps us get into the late game. Ooh, Skyraider Patrol though? Also, ooh, there's some stuff here. So there's Field Creeper. Does work fine with the Pack Beast. Makes one with the machine. Like, it makes one with the machine better, because it means we can turn it into a 2-draw spell some of the time. It's not fantastic. Skyride Patrol is really very good. It synergizes well with Windreader Sphinx. We're going to pick up a Manolith, right? We could just go for that. I think Lich's Crest is a little bit too greedy with double black. But, yeah, maybe we'll take Skyride Patrol. We're getting a little bit deep. There is a Scholar of the Stars. This is a pretty good payoff if you have an artifact, and not embarrassing if you don't, so I think we'll take that. Okay, found Manolith. That's pretty good. Fiery Finish has the same problem as Lich's Mastery, just the double color cost makes it a lot harder to play, but I think we do want Manolith here. Trusty Pack Beast. There's also a Submerged Boneyard, although we're not splashing for black just yet. We're seeing a fair amount of good red come around in these packs. I think we're just taking Pack Beast. And Totally Lost, Anticipate, or the Swift Claw. We are light on 2s right now, although we do have a good number of 3s, including Exclusion Mage, that can help us like buy back time. And this card is woefully unimpressive, I think. Totally Lost is just like okay removal. It doesn't take care of things permanently, but it also has instant speed advantages. You can always get rid of auras if that's a problem, etc. How high is our curve, honestly? Not too bad with Manolith right now. We actually have a lot of 3s. I think I want it more than Anticipate. Could maybe see taking the Anticipate just because there are some like good top end cards for this deck. Okay, Gearsmith Guardian's another pretty good pickup. Happy to see that come around. Yeah, I think we're gonna take it over Explosive Apparatus. Although this card is also perfectly serviceable. And Swift Claw, I guess now. And some other just good cards. I guess Thornhide Wolves. Although I don't think it's real likely we're gonna end up in green. But I guess this does give us an out if white looks really bad. I guess our white's not nuts. We have Luminous Bonds, but that's could be splashed. Yeah, actually, maybe keep an eye on green. We're a little bit heavier on blue than anything else. Oakenform, going to be a scary card that we definitely lose to, but not absurd. Ooh. Palladium Ore is the Ruiner. Can we cast this? I'm not even sure we can. It's an Elder Dragon, though. How can we really pass it? This is basically a double color off card, though, like, because even if we are playing Manolith and we are playing Rupture Spire, that really helps us splash for one thing off, but Palladium Ores might just be a little bit too much. And especially because there's other, like, great cards in this pack for us. I think I'm off that. There's Aether Shield Artificer, which is good with the Gearsmith Guardians, but kind of misses with everything else. There's a Luminous Bonds, which is just good removal, and Arcane Encyclopedia. Encyclopedia is impressive to me. Works well for early artifacts for Scarlet Stars, one with the machine, just draws us cards if the game goes long in general, which probably works well with like Windreader Sphinx. But honestly, I think we just want the removal spell. Luminous Bonds is a very solid pessimism effect. I think it's very likely we wheel something out of this pack, even if it's just like a Gearsmith Guardian or an Essence Scatter. But I think we're taking Luminous Bonds. We're doing some sweet stuff. I think we can afford to be a little bit more careful here. Another Scholar of Stars. We haven't picked up any of the Explosive Apparatus that can be important for it. We may just not be quite on that deck. We maybe still get a couple more. Let's see what the curve looks like at this point. It's not looking bad. What are we not playing? I think with the second Luminous Bonds, we are cementing ourselves into white. Mirror Image is kind of interesting. I've had a couple of people say that they've had good success with this, but it feels kind of bad to me. I'm a huge Clone fan, but one of the best parts of Clone is when you play it, you're always at least like even on board. You take the best card if your opponent's got it, whereas there are going to be some cases where you cast Mirror Image and it does literally nothing for you. You have like a Salvager of Secrets in play and they have like a demon and you're just like, well, Mirror Image is not good. There's Surge Mare. Like I said, Surge Mare has just been kind of unexciting though. I think I'm going to take Scholar of Stars. It's still a little bit speculative. We need to pick up another couple of artifacts to be happy with it. But if we do pick up another couple of artifacts, we are happy with it. Gallant Cavalry does a pretty good job of gumming up the board. I don't think this is Inspired Charge deck. I don't think Tolarian Scholar is necessary. There's another Manolith. Kind of hoping that maybe the one the pack 1 will wheel, though. I think we can take a Gallant Cavalry and not be too unhappy about it. We're a little bit glutted at 4 right now, but this is a good card. A Pegasus Courser, Sky Scanner, Field Creeper, totally lost. Vampire Sovereign's nuts good, but we're not in those colors. I think we're taking Sky Scanner here. Pegasus Courser is very good if you're a little bit more aggressive, but I think it's actually maybe not its best here. And Sky Scanner is better than Field Creeper, despite the fact that it's a 3-drop that we have lots of. But yeah, Sky Scanner draws us a card immediately, works very well with Scholar of the Stars, One with the Machine. This is one of the payoffs we want. Even good with Wind Reader Sphinx eventually. Probably even Wind Mage here as well. Again, good with Wind Reader Sphinx eventually. Find more important, anticipate. Need to pick up, I'd like some Explosive Apparatus. If we're choosing like cards we just want over the next couple of packs. We only have a couple more chances to pick them up, but I would take some. Probably take Cancel here. Not sure it'll make main deck. Good sideboard card though. Omniscience is unfortunately not playable, although it is very sweet. Yeah, take Cancel. Another Guardian? I mean, how many blue creatures do we actually have? Not tons, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Gearsmith's Guardian is pretty good if we've got blue. And it's not terrible if we don't. Yeah, there's nothing else in this pack. I'm not really sure what I'm talking about. Okay, Explosive Apparatus is good. I think we want it over our next Manolith. Gives us a little bit more removal. It's a cheap early play. Manolith is a little bit clunky. Wait, did I never get a Manolith? I'm not seeing one now. I swore I picked one up. Am I just insane? Oh no, it's there. It's just not showing up down here for some reason. Oh no, I just have to scroll. I have a lot of 3-drops. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, let's take the Apparatus here. Field Creeper, probably also going for Field Creeper, right? Got some good synergies with that. Wall of Mist is probably a better card baseline, but I like my artifacts, so. Totally lost, fine pickup. Mighty Leap is good in other versions of the deck. We're hoping to kill our opponent with like Gearsmith Guardians and just bury them in card advantage though, so. Yeah, lots of these. Do we want Totally Lost number 3? Probably never gonna play 3. I think we're more likely to want like Tolarian Scholar. Yeah, it is another blue card too, for what that's worth. Knight's Pledge, and we're coming to the end of the draft. I think it looks pretty cool. Overall, definitely not unhappy. Get rid of our... Oop. Yeah, let's get rid of our lands for now. I always want to add those in later on. Okay, I think we want to play the 3 Gearsmith Guardians, which means I think we are playing kind of as much blue as we can. Trusty Pack Beast seems pretty solid though. Invoke the Divine's a sideboard card. Cancel's probably sideboard. Skydriver Patrol, not worth the risk, maybe? It's very good. We do have a couple of things that are splashing for it already. Oh, don't want Infectious Horror. I think that there's not a whole lot of risk in playing it, given that we have Rupture Spire and Manolith, both of which I think are making the cut anyway, and they both splash in any direction. I think I want the Electrify, so it's not that much we lose out on. We're at 28 playables right now, so we need to cut down on 5, maybe 1, probably the Lockstone Linebreaker bites the dust. It's not really, I think it's a little bit better than Pack Beast if there's no synergy, but we have some good synergy. Maybe cut 1 more of these, or actually maybe a Scholar. It's funny, because Scholar is worse than Pack Beast on its front half, but we really, really want at least 1 blue creature for Gearsmith Guardian. I'm hesitant to cut too many of those, but maybe Pack Beast is just enough better, we should go for it. Like, if I'm recycling stuff late game, it's great. And this pack, or this deck has a lot of opportunities to recycle, I think. Want both Scholar of the Stars. Pretty sure I want one with the Machine. With Gearsmith Guardian, it's potentially a draw 5, which is stupid good. It's good with Manolith and Sky Scanner too, and then Field Creeper and Explosive Apparatus mean it's not embarrassing. We're just casting off that. Probably cut 1 Totally Lost. It's a little bit expensive, maybe. We're down to 24 at this point. So we're playing Skyrider Patrol Electrickery here. Those are just greedy splashes. They definitely open us up to more variants, and our deck is quite good even without it. Skyrider Patrol is just really, really solid as a finisher on its own, though. Electrify is pretty good, too. Although, we do have to pay green consistently, although I guess if we're playing Skyrider Patrol, both of our effects are not like one-off splash anyway. I'm honestly not super sure what to cut here. Maybe I cut Tolarian Scholar. it feels bad because I'm worried that our Gearsmith Guardians aren't going to be on as often as I would like them to be. We only have 6, 7 counting Winter Sphinx blue creatures then. Not a lot. Pack Beast seems sweet. We could cut Gallant Cavalry. Gallant Cavalry is just such good rates. Great for blocking. Potentially is like a 2-for-1 in some cases. You know, I think it's really close. I think I'm gonna play it a little bit risky with the Gearsmith Guardians. They're not terrible even if we're missing, right? I guess we'll go under that logic. I could see that being a mistake. Okay, we're adding a Rupture Spire, Meandering River for sure, and do we actually want to have a black or green source? I'm not sure we do. Between Manolith and Rupture Spire, is that enough to potentially play either of them? I think so. We have some good card draw with like Sift and one with the machine to, and even like Sky Scanner to help us maybe find, and Scholar of Stars, yeah. Card draw helps us splash a little bit as well, so. Well, you know, the more I look at it, we're really not heavy on white. What blue do we have? We could just bring in like a bunch of Tolarian Scholars. We could maybe even fix our mana a little bit better. Be close to mono blue, splashing for like Luminous Bonds. I think that actually might be correct. This means that the Gearsmith Guardians are just always going to be online. I feel like I played this deck a lot. It's so good. It's so good. We're 23 right now, although with those two. So we'd be bringing in probably just 2 Tolarian Scholars. We're cutting a 4-drop for a 3-drop. Bringing one more 3. Much more likely to get these online. Yeah, I think that's okay. That lets us actually really help out our mana base some too. I feel like I've been playing a lot of monocolored decks lately. Maybe that's a failing. Just feels like often when I do that in Arena, it just ends up working out that way. Okay, so probably could play like 3 planes, maybe, or I guess probably just 3 off Meandering River, and then maybe like 1 green, 1 red source as well. And then we still have 11, 12, 13 blue sources. 13 blue sources, and then 3 white sources. I guess 4. Well, I guess, yeah, 4 white sources of Rupture Spire. Do I want to go up to 12 islands? I think this is okay. So that's 13 blue sources, and yeah, I guess 4 plains, 2 mountains, 2 forests. Okay, let's call that the deck. I think it's super sweet. I'm excited to go for it. I'm sorry that it's a blue-based deck again. I should promise you I will show you something different at some point. But let's jump in. Alright, we are back for match 1. We've got hand smack full of 3-drops, but it's got some artifact synergies. We can play Skyrider Patrol, we can play Luminous Bonds. I think this is a fine hand. Let's go ahead and keep. We need to draw 1 land. But if we do, life is very, very good. Okay. I guess let's start off with... No, we want to start off with blue in case we find Surgemare. Ordinarily, I'd say, hey, maybe we can confuse our opponent just a little bit, but we really don't want to miss out on the turn 2 Surgemare if that's what we draw. Well, no, we have to draw that plus island. Disregard everything I've said. Okay, so we missed on our first land drop. Come on, land off the top, land off the top. Okay, opponent playing white-red, presumably one of the more aggressive decks in the format. I think Goblin Instigator's pretty good in it. Okay, Rupture Spire is better than not a land, but it is a little bit unfortunate. Okay, so we're going to take 2 here, kind of for free. Next turn, if we draw a land, we'll probably play Scholar of Stars. Yeah, seems fine. Gets good value, potentially blocks these instigators fairly well. Okay, keeps us hitting our land drops, which seems nice. I am kind of worried about how this deck will actually fare against, is it Inspired Charge? The +2/+1 instant speed pump effect. My opponent goes really wide and then plays that. We don't have enough blockers probably really to favorably interact. Obviously don't have access to like a board wipe or anything like that. Okay. Naki Ogre, our opponent showing us that they actually do not have a combat trick, not even trying to bluff it. Although we'd probably block anyway, so I guess maybe that's good. So we can play Manolith plus Sky Scanner here, or we can play Manolith plus Luminous Bonds. I don't think I want to use the Luminous Bonds just yet. I think I want to get the Manolith into play. So let's just be nice and efficient. Seems okay. Play Sky Scanner, draw another card, continue to gum up the board. Okay, Gearsmith Guardian's quite good. We'll play that next turn and probably start getting in. And the turn after that. Yeah, ordinarily I'd be like, oh yeah, an aggressive deck, we're at 18. I'd feel pretty good about that. We can play it slow and just get card advantage. But the problem is I think we lose not infrequently into the +2/+1. So if they have that effect, this block's bad. Well, I mean, this block's fine. This block ends up being bad, but I think it's likely my opponent has a pump spell. Like a single target. Well, I don't know. They maybe would have attacked last turn then. Although maybe they just want to play the Ogre. I think this blocks are okay. I think if my opponent has something, I'm not too displeased with it. I think my opponent is likely to have something, but Make a Stand gets us pretty good. Yeah, that isn't uncommon, but it's something I need to be aware of, because that was pretty brutal. So now, what's the line? We have 6 mana, we can drop a Luminous Bonds. Kind of just want to get Gearsmith Guardian into play. It's a little bit expensive, and it's only a 3/5 right now, but assuming my opponent doesn't have like another trick to get through, this does sandbag the board pretty well. Yeah, I probably could have, if I thought about it a little bit more carefully, maybe could have come to the conclusion of Make a Stand there. For some reason, it's a card I forget a lot in the format. Okay, so that's going to get Luminous Bonds for sure. Looks like no trick, though. Okay, and we can play a Tolaren Scholar. I think we do have to Bonds this turn, so I don't really have time to get the Skyrider Patrol going, but hopefully soon. Yeah, I think we could have figured out that was Make a Stand, though, if my opponent was unwilling to swing for like a little bit of value, but was willing to swing for a lot of value. And it wasn't a good charge for, or a good attack for Inspired Charge. Okay, let's Luminous Bonds. And get rid of this Starcrown Stag. Interesting that it uses Rupture Spire first. Feels like that's the last thing you'd want. So we could just swing with the Gearsmith Guardian. We'd probably trade for bits. Yeah, it doesn't actually seem that good to me. Let's just pass. Alright. We could take kind of a long time on that turn, but I like that. My opponent's still got quite a few cards in hand. We do have Explosive Apparatus, Skyrider Patrol. We've got things that will gain us more value going forward. Gallant Cavalry is exactly the card that scares me, though. Because there is just like a ticking time bomb most of the time with these decks. Okay, we hit 7. Maybe we'll crack the Explosive Apparatus at this point. Manaless unlikely to be interacted with by my opponent, so the Apparatus I think we can safely get rid of. So let's play Skyrider Patrol, and not use Luminous Bonds, but plan on maybe cracking the Explosive Apparatus. If we play Skyrider Patrol, we could also just pump, make the Tolarian Scholar a little bit bigger. If we do that, my opponent, so say they have Inspiring Charge. They swing, we block like that, block that somewhere. Take a fair amount, we lose kind of our board. We need to keep up Explosive Apparatus? Maybe we don't. Maybe we just want to get value off the Skyrider Patrol as effectively as we can. Okay, let's make sure we tap our mana right then. Make sure we still have these 2 up. Go to combat. And we're going to put this on the Tolaren Scholar. And spread the love around just a little bit. No attacks. Yeah, I don't know. This deck is scary. It's funny, it feels like it's hardly ever opened, like when I've seen it and tried to draft, but it is very good. Not really sure why some of these look like they're like dark. I guess Starcrown Stag maybe makes sense, but like Gallant Cavalry and Goblin Instigator you wouldn't expect. One goblin randomly? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they're dimmed. Double cast. Uh-oh. Oh man, are they gonna... Oh no! Oh... So yeah, it's gotta be the +2/+1, so everything is gaining +4/+2. Oh, that's brutal. Oh, that's brutal. Can we keep the Skyrider Patrol alive somehow? It's 4/+2. So we may have to do something like that, but then my opponent's swinging for 17. We're dead. Maybe I have to just block with the Skyrider Patrol, but it's just a chump block. I guess this is a chump block too. Could do something like that. We're gonna let a timeout expire here. I think this is important. Yeah, not using the explosive apparatus really punished us. So this way we're taking 6, 16, I guess exactly, that's true, because we were blocking Instigator before, so we just can't afford to do that. So I think then we have to go for blocks like that, because we're just dead otherwise, right? Okay, I guess the blocks are forced. This is brutal. And we kind of knew that's the way the game was going to look the whole time. Oh, it's just Trumpet Blast. Okay. That is less bad, because at least we kill some stuff. My opponent's left with only 2 attackers. Not in love. But that is less bad. We're not just dead here. I think we just pass with Totally Lost and Explosive Apparatus up. Sure. Probably shoot one of these, but not the other, and leave up Totally Lost to put something on top of my opponent's stack. Okay, yeah, Trumpet Blast is not terrible. Okay, Viashino Pyromancer, a little bit rough. Sure. May have to end up using like Luminous Bonds on that. I think we're gonna end up Totally Losting a Goblin, which is not great. Ooh, Venture of the Meek. Interesting, they played that. Okay, well that needs to get shot by the Explosive Apparatus. And we probably need to Totally Lost one of these guys, and then Luminous Bonds the Pyromancer. Venture of the Meek's good. I think it's probably, like, great in this deck. I guess it doesn't actually really matter what colors we use. So we're gonna get rid of the Goblin. Crack Explosive Apparatus. And I guess we can just do that now and save ourselves a little bit of time. I don't think it's likely my opponent's got anything. Okay. Okay, Tolarian Scholar. We could play that in Sandbag Luminous Bonds. We're dead if my opponent has removal. We're dead to a lot of stuff. Pump Spell would also get us. Yeah, I think I'm gonna Luminous Bonds. Doesn't feel good hitting the Pyromancer with it, but the opponent calls out a good game. Just have Lightning Strike as your last card. Definitely can't do anything about that. Oh, Luminous Bonds. Okay, well we're glad that we went for the bonds and the Pyromancer. Come on, not a land. Alright, Field Creeper. You are our savior. Ooh. Cool sound effect for it, despite it not being a particularly great card. Oh no, Instigators. Alright, we got a block. What's our best draw? Probably something like Scholar. I think Gearsmith's not terrible. My opponent doesn't find anything. We can block and go to 1. I guess our best draw is probably still something like One with the Machine. No, Pegasus Courser. Are we out of removal pretty much? Yeah, we are. Alright, we're down to 1. That is not enough. Darn. Alright, good game. Trumpet Blast got us pretty good. Ugh. Our deck seems sweet, but that was pretty brutal. Maybe you want to bring in Swiftclaw. Gallant Cavalry actually seems quite good. And the Tusk maybe helps us get in damage in the late game. Cancel actually is probably pretty good, right? If we can hold that up in a crucial turn, if my opponent like goes wide, Cancel saves us in the late game. Do we want to... Gallant Cavalry is still a splash. Maybe that's too much. Yeah, maybe it's too much. I think I like the Gearsmiths. I think I still like Windreader Sphinx as a potential finisher. These all seem pretty good, honestly. Maybe we cut 1 Tolarian Scholar for Cancel. I think that's where I'm at. Holy Lost maybe isn't fantastic. It trades for itself as a card, but my opponent didn't actually show us any single target tricks, did they? It's kind of expensive. Yeah. Okay, maybe that's a little bit better. Sorry, Totally Lost. Okay. Terrifying, but let's see if we can't pick up the next 2 games. Oh man. Playing Vivian against Nissa? Vivian is definitely better, just for all of you out there. Nissa is not my favorite Planeswalker. Not as bad as Jace, but pretty close. Yeah, I mean, we'll keep this. Again, we need to draw land. If we draw an island, though, in our first draw, we get to play Surge Mare. and then Tolarian Scholar, and we're off to the races. So I think this is okay. Okay, opponent has mulligan down to 6. Hopefully time will not show that we also should have mulligan down to 6. I actually was looking at my hand, completely missed with my opponent, top to bottom on that scry, which is not great, but that's okay. Surge Mare. And now we're going to Tolarian Scholar, and then we have Gearsmith Guardian not too long after that. Ooh, really want to just find lands, I think, going forward. We could swing with Surge Mare, but nah, let's just... If we don't have anything to do next turn, we will. And maybe, Oop. Oh, oops. I just totally attacked there for no good reason. Oops. Hopefully there's no, like, hasty threat that burns us. Probably not. I meant to cancel the attack and just did not, though. Okay, well, Exclusion Mage is fine. We're not getting, like, fantastic value here, but not bad either. We'll get in with our Tolarian Scholar. Really wish we found a land, but Exclusion Mage is a good card. Just not as backbreaking as it can be right now. And honestly, this deck is not its best home. I think you want this in a little bit more tempo aggressive based. A little bit less artifact dirtily based. Okay, replaying the Ogre. Another Luminous Bonds. So we could swing with Surge Mare. We could just swing with everything. I think my opponent's likely to block Surge Mare. Good Luminous Bonds. Get in for 4. Doesn't seem fantastic. I do think I kind of want to draw and discard, though. Maybe get rid of, like, Skyrare Patrol that's a little bit of ways away. We're missing land drops, though. Keep Exclusion Mage back to try and trade. Alright. Go to attacks. My opponent is inclined to trade. I will allow it. Oh, probably should have kept up blue rather than white there. Yes, we will take the action. Okay. Yeah, we're going to pitch Skyrare Patrol, at least cancel something that we can cast. Yeah, we're looking bad after not taking a mulligan there, but I think I stand behind that hand. It's going to be fine a lot of the time. And it's not terrible even now. Like, we're bricking, but we've got a board presence. Life is not terrible. And if we start drawing a couple of lands, I think we can definitely get going. Meandering River, not bad. Don't think we're going to swing with Surge Mare. I think I'm just going to keep up cancel. Pass the turn. Let's swing with Tolarian Scholar and say, hey, I'm okay trading with the Ogre if you are. Okay. It's a couple points of damage. It's not nothing. Go to attack. Alright, and hit my opponent. Down to 12. Still, we played this game a little bit conservatively. We could have gone really, really ham and tried to knock my opponent down, but I don't think we're winning that game. I don't think we're just going to have quite enough reach to get there. And I'd rather develop my board a little bit so that my opponent can't keep developing and stabilize at like 6, but then have a board advantage on us. I think I'm just canceling that. I would like to save that for later, but hitting Gallant Cavalry is pretty good too. Like, getting rid of Trumpet Blast late in the game is nice, but I'm pretty okay just taking out one of my opponent's better cards. Yeah, doesn't the board just look like dark right now? Kind of weird. Wonder if we're running into some bugs. Oh, it's light again. Maybe it does that when you have, like, no spells you can cast anymore? I think I'm going to swing with Tolarian Scholar again, still offer a trade with my opponent's Ogre, and then we're going to play Gearsmith Guardian. Okay, another 2 points of damage, more or less for free, and we'll play our Guardian. Well, I mean, Surge Mare did some pretty good work this game. I mean, it's just been a 0-5, which was fine, but the one loot it did that drew us closer to a land and got rid of Skyrare Patrol that would just be languishing in my hand was pretty nice. Opponent looks like they've had a pretty tough draw, though. They had to mulligan and now have drawn a lot of lands. Ooh, opponent sacrificing Catalyst Elemental for double cast. This is going to be terrifying, whatever it is. 7 cost. Yeah, I'm like racking my brain for what's about to happen to me. Okay, Heroic Reinforcements. It's pretty big. They didn't actually need to sacrifice the Catalyst Elemental so far, though. They just could have done that. And Trumpet Blast. Okay, my opponent swings for a lot. Oh man, they did it before the attack. Oh, I am so sorry. That is the worst feeling in the game. Oh man, because they would have hit us for so much. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's just brutal. Take 5. We could... we just go for the crackback? They're out of cards, right? Actually. So we just need to not die this turn, and then we can swing for enough. So we just go like block there. We take 7, 13, is that right? 6, 10, 13. I guess we can block one of these for free. Okay, and then I just kill on the crackback. Ooh, that Trumpet Blast was rough for my opponent. It's the sort of thing that if you're in person, you're like, oh, it's okay. But I guess online is a ruthless place. Let's go to combat and enjoy our free win. That was a pretty sweet play, though. My opponent like went all in there. Okay, we have to remember heroic reinforcements is a problem. My opponent's deck actually looks really solid. I think we're gonna potentially have a tough time walking our way out of the last game, but still don't think we're going to change anything really. I could maybe take out Skyrider Patrol for Gallant Cavalry, make the splash ever so slightly easier. I think I still kind of want to Electrify, although honestly it may not be that efficient of an answer for a lot of what my opponent's doing anyway. I think we have enough 3-drops now. Maybe we bring in like Swiftclaw, cut like Skyrider Patrol, maybe cut Electrify, bring in Gallant Cavalry, and just actually turn back into a more conservative deck. Do we need to play Manolith? I think we still kind of do. Yeah, it's not great then. But we can cut out Mountain Forest and Rupture Spire and just make our mana base quite a bit better. In which case, maybe we play like 1 Trusty Pack Beast over 1 Tolarian Scholar. For just a little bit of added benefit for like Explosive Apparatus or the like. Yeah, those cards are good, but Electrify actually doesn't pair particularly well against what my opponent's doing anyway. Do we go like 6-12? Seems okay. We just need single white sources. Still want to be heavier on blue. Could go 11-7. Maybe that's even better. Okay, let's do that. Maybe we should have sideboarded a little bit more aggressively last game. This actually feels a little bit better. Just about ran out of time on our sideboard clock there, but this is going to be a long match to start us off. It's been good, though. And that Trumpet Blast was brutal. Like, I think my opponent was still in trouble there, but it definitely would have worked a lot better for them had they blasted. Could have forced maybe some more blocks, maybe not let us crack back the next turn. Let's go ahead and keep this. Seems pretty okay. We have Surge Mare on turn 2. Don't have the Swiftclaw, but it's okay. If we find a couple of lands, we get to go. My opponent will get down to 6 again and Scry to the bottom. I think we've been pretty fortunate that they've had some unlucky draws here, because I think their deck matches up pretty well against ours on average. Have to imagine this deck's got a 2-drop. Be a Shooting Pyromancer. That counts. Okay, Gearsmith Guardian. Good eventually. Not a great draw now, because we are just looking for the lands. Again, I think that was a correct keep. We've had a couple of sort of speculative keeps, but I think that it's been pretty firmly on the hold on to it both times. Ew, Venture of the Meek. Explosive Apparatus actually is an answer. We could swing with Surge Mare, but then we take 4 back. Kind of want to play the Apparatus, but then we take 2 to do so. I think that's probably good, though. Alright. No attacks. Hopefully draw a land, can kill off the Mentor of the Meek next turn. That's actually one of the very few answers we have to this card, though. Like, Luminous Bond doesn't do it. We got rid of Electrify. Okay, we'll take 2, go down to 16 here. Come on, land. Oh, damn. Although my opponent missed, for what that's worth. Still can't quite use the Explosive Apparatus. Trade 2 damage and a loot for an extra 2 damage. I feel like we might need to. We need to go back up to 17 lands, right? Like, I'm not insane on that. It's bad if my opponent's got any spell, though. I think I'm still sitting. Oh, that's so rough. Surge Mare, at least, is a little bit better of a blocker this time around. If my opponent just like hits a land and plays something, we start falling really far behind really quickly. Okay, Pegasus Courser, no draw, but Pegasus Courser's a good one. Sure. Might have to get Luminous Bonds at some point. My turn, land. Come on, land. Nice. Alright, finally got one. So we could Luminous Bonds, get rid of the Courser. My opponent did not have a play last turn, which means they drew the Courser. A land off the top or anything cheap means they probably draw from Enter the Meek, although a land means they probably can't activate it just yet. So we could still try and Mize for a turn on the Explosive Apparatus and save ourselves some life with Luminous Bonds. I think that's better. Kind of close too, but... Alright, we take another hit from these pair. Yeah, opponent did find a land. Like I said, I think that means they probably can't draw off Mentor of the Meek quite yet, but probably soon. Okay. Yeah, man. Would have been 2 triggers, too. My opponent's pretty far ahead here, though. Their board is big. Yeah. Okay, we go down to 14. This is not a matchup where we want to miss land drops. Okay. Do we have to play out Tolarian Scholar at this point? We might. My opponent's still opening up the door to getting really good value with Mentor of the Meek, but if we kill it at this point, we're also starting to get down to the area where we just are dying to like Trumpet Blast. It's a rough spot to be. Let's see. So if we kill this, next turn we take 4 bare minimum, maybe as much as 8. We go down to 10, then we play Tolarian Scholar and start trying to stabilize. And then if we hit a couple of lands, we can start playing like Guardian after Guardian after Guardian. Maybe we do kill the Mentor still. Is there any reason to wait? Not really. Alright. Rest in peace, Mentor. If they have like a pump spell or something, we would get destroyed, so... Alright. We're accepting 4 points of damage here, maybe as many as 8. If they have the heroic reinforcements, we're super, super dead. Vernal Hellion. Okay. I mean, that does hit really hard. This is probably the deck for it. Okay, we're down to 10. It hit a land. Just gonna have to play Tolarian Scholar. We could play Swift Claw and keep up Surge Mare. We take 7. Let's see. Next turn, my opponent's swinging, right? If we just play Tolarian Scholar, are we dead? We block, we go to 1. Infernal Hellion disappears. That's assuming they have nothing. We play the Swift Claw, we go block, and then pump block. We go to 1. I guess it kind of ends up being the same. My opponent is pretty likely to swing all out. Maybe wouldn't into the Swiftmare, but I guess if they're not swinging to Swiftmare, they probably wouldn't swing. Yeah, they probably would anyway. Yeah, I think that's a little bit less mana efficient for what's in our hand, but I think that actually might be better. Potentially trading away 2 threats seems better. Alright. I think there's a very, very good chance we're dead this turn, but we had a kind of a rough draw, and Mentor of the Meek was the very, very light straw that broke the very, very weak camel's back. Hey, my opponent didn't cast anything before combat, so that's good. I like that. Trumpet Blast still kills us. My opponent may be just using Trumpet Blast correctly this time around, but really can't play around anything here, so let's go to blocks. Block. Block. Trumpet Blast. That is enough. Good game. Darn. I think that was a pretty okay hand. We just bricked on lands a little bit too long and didn't manage to get there. Well, disappointing start. I think the deck is good, though. We can pull ourselves up from our bootstraps, hopefully, and still pick up, like, 4 and 2 or something similar. Ugh, that was rough, though. Match 2. Alright, we are back from match 3. Have a pretty good hand here. We got Surge Mare into Scholar into Eventual Gearsmith. We'll go ahead and keep. Looks like things are getting serious. We got the mirror match between Vivian and Neo, so that's we know where my opponent's a real true Magic player. None of this Nissa garbage. For those of you, well, I guess it's depending on how well this series goes. You maybe are seeing this video very, very first. That means that things are going pretty well for the series. Right now we are 1-1, and I don't always post all of the videos. Or I guess all of the matches in one video, because it would make for a very, very long series in some cases. So, we're 1-1. I think both games were worthy of being showed. Our second game was especially cool. We had a really like long game where we got to go off with Wind Rider. Is that right? A Wind Reader Sphinx, and just draw basically our whole deck both games. Missing a land drop's a little bit unfortunate here. We could Exclusion Mage and just go for it, but I think in this color combination I actually might want to hold this and hope that my opponent plays like some bad aura or the like. So I'm just going to play Tolarian Scholar, and sure, we'll attack with one of these guys. I think it's pretty unlikely that my opponent gets through both Surge Mare and Tolarian Scholar effectively next turn, so. And then in match 1, we had a pretty close game, managed to lose to a red-white sort of beat-down, go-wide deck, which was cool. Ooh, Starcrown Stag. That's good. So we don't actually have Luminous Bonds just yet. We may have to go for the Exclusion Mage. Yeah, I mean, we'll take the trade, for sure. I guess the rationale for that is my opponent has no combat trick, and maybe they want to make sure that Starcrown Stag can afford to get rid of Surge Mare. That's kind of interesting. So they probably have no combat trick, and they're trying to set up for a good attack with the Starcrown Stag next turn. We do have a play anyway. We could just take it and swing for 4 back. My opponent replays the Stag, probably. We could just block with Surge Mare. I actually kind of think I like that better. So let's just block with Surge Mare. My opponent is offering us the free trade, and let's just not take it here. Canada land's good. White obviously would be our best draw, but we will settle for just an Exclusion Mage here. And a pretty good tempo hit. This card is very good. Even in a deck that's not quite as aggressively bent as ours, it is very good. Okay. I got my opponent down to 14. But like I said, probably best case scenario is they just have to replay the Stag. Worst case is there's something bigger. Okay, Vine Mare. So totally loss is going to be important, I think, to hold on to. Because hopefully we're going to be able to snipe auras off this thing. So we can Explosive Apparatus, just remove the Loxodon Breaker. We actually can't shoot the Vine Mare, so we have no good attacks here. We could swing with Surge Mare with the intention of... I don't know. So we can swing with Surge Mare. My opponent probably just blocks with the Loxodon Breaker, though. That puts us in kind of a bad spot, right? Like, I think ideally we'd want to loot, although our hand's really not that bad either. Maybe we just play Explosive Apparatus and sit. And just need to draw land. Alright. I think that's okay. I'm going to try out the whole end turn means that I get to respond if my opponent plays something here. Because they're probably going to play... And then we can see if it would give us the opportunity to use like Explosive Apparatus in response. Because that's how I would like the end turn to be in a perfect world. Okay, it is. Ooh, Leonin Warleader is rough. Gonna need to hit Luminous Bonds, I think, pretty quick. I don't think we can afford to keep up Explosive Apparatus, although I guess it allows us to block more effectively. Do we really care that much about the Line Breaker? Probably not. Leonin Warleader is a good one, though. It's gonna be a problem. Just cycle one with the machine? Is that where we're at? I think that's where we're at. That feels pretty bad with Gearsmith Guardian in hand. I think we need to hit lands pretty aggressively here, though. Do we just sandbag? Ugh, I hate just not using our mana this turn. We pretty much missed last turn as well. One with the machine has such high potential to get us back in the game if we fall behind. This is greedy, I guess. I think I'm just gonna wait. If we don't hit a land drop next turn, that feels really bad. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's not correct. You guys also let me know what you think about there. It feels bad to get rid of one with the machine when we're so close to great value, though, off the Gearsmith Guardian. That is assuming, like, a bunch of things go right. My opponent can't just kill it, like other things along those lines. So as it stands right now, we have a handful of ways to keep the Leonin Warleader from getting massive value. If my opponent has, like, tricks to get it through, it's going to be bad. Okay, just a Starcrown Stag. I think my opponent did not have the ability earlier on. I think I am going to use the Explosive Apparatus this time around? Question mark? Kind of like having it for that, but again, it seems like my opponent doesn't have any tricks, otherwise they might have gone for it, in which case, I don't know. Yeah, I think we're just going to shoot something. It's mana efficient. Take out the Line Breaker. It's not particularly efficient. I guess that turns off one with the machine, but we're drawing a land anyway, right? Oh no, Scholar of Stars. The ultimate punishment. Ugh. Yeah, that was probably bad. Oh man, because we just get to draw a land. I think we have to play the Scholar. That's embarrassing, though. Alright. We're still not necessarily out of it, but not in love with how things are looking. Yeah, that explosive apparatus may go down as one of our worst decisions. Bristling boar. Yeah, my opponent's laying out just a bunch of good threats here, but fortunately we had enough of a defense that they haven't gotten great value. Okay. So you get to play the Gearsmith Guardian now. It's pretty good. Hopefully that means next turn we get to 1 with the machine. And my opponent is not playing like they've got any way to get anything through here. It's possible they're leading up to an inspired. Is it inspired charge? I think that's what it's called. I probably called that card like 5 different things over the course of the series. Yeah, it's got a lot built out. Inspired charge would get us pretty badly. We're gonna draw 5 cards off one of the machine though. That seems pretty stupidly good. I guess we'd want to keep up. I guess the only card we can draw is Field Creeper. Everything else we've already hit anyway off one with the machine. I guess we want to have 1 blue source so we can Surge Mare at least. So it looks like it's going to leave 1 island for us, which feels good. Let's draw a bunch of cards. Okay, we hit white for Luminous Bonds, so we at the very least get to get rid of War Leader next turn. We do have to survive another turn, but we have refueled our hand, and we're not crazy far behind. Scholar of Stars. Yeah, that explosive apparatus hurt. So if they've got it, they almost certainly go for it here, right? It's really pretty poor for us. They'd swing with Leonin War Leader. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 attackers. We've only got Knightly Valor. Fair enough. Fair enough. It is big. Let's go to combat. I don't care to attack. It's not great against the Gearsmith Guardian still. It also have... Ooh, interesting. Okay, just going for it. Gonna tap down the Gearsmith Guardian. We get a double block there. We actually... Assuming they don't have anything for double green, this isn't the worst. We do get good value off of Leonin War Leader. So let's go to blocks. And I really want to kill off the Leonin War Leader. We will definitely do that. Block like that, block like that, block like that. And then we want to kill off the Vine Mare for sure as well, which means I guess we want Vine Mare to live, or we'll probably want Terra Letter and Scholar more against this board, honestly. We go like that, double block, pump the Surge Mare, block there, double block, take 3, 7, 9, 10, 11. That is a lot. We need to kill off the Stag. I think I like just sniping some random stuff. Like, I don't think we can afford to leave the Vine Mare around. We could allow this to live and plan on Luminous Bondsing it, and make sure we kill off the Stag. Maybe that's better. So if we make sure we kill the Stag instead, that stays around, but we get to remove it, although I guess it doesn't matter too much because we're removing one or the other. Alright, I guess we'd rather get that back later in the game, probably. So let's block like that. Long block. Monstrous Growth might just save the War Leader here, but it's gonna be bad somewhere. And let's try and pump up the Surge Mare. My opponent has nothing. This doesn't go terribly for us. And we do have, like, good cards we're gonna get. Okay. So we take a lot of damage. Oh, I missed Centaur Courser, I think, somewhere in the melee. Okay, Starcrown Stag we need to kill. We've got another Plains. We've got access to 2 Luminous Bonds if we want. Do we want to play both? My opponent has pretty much anything, we're in trouble. We're going to Luminous Bonds that, then my opponent's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attackers. We go like block, block, block. 2, still have Centaur Courser. We need Luminous Bonds. I guess the Bristling Boar is our main question. It's not fantastic. Tolarian Scholar might just be about as good. Okay. Yeah, I think we Luminous Bonds on the Starcrown Stag. We Tolarian Scholar, and we're still kind of in hope my opponent doesn't have anything mode, but doesn't feel too bad. We got rid of a couple of really good threats that turn. My fear, though, is my opponent probably wouldn't have made that attack unless they had a good follow-up. But we did have the answer for the Starkrun Stag. Like, it's very possible that my opponent was expecting to just be able to finish the job here. Although we get 7 cards in hand, this gotta be pretty greedy. Let's see what this is. I guess we should have played... No, I guess we can't play Rupture Spire anyway. We should have thought about our lands a little bit more carefully there, though. Okay, the Twins we're pretty happy to have Luminous Bonds for. It's going to be hard to turn the corner here. My opponent's just got such a big board. Maybe we really will need like our Windreader Sphinx. Or Skyrider Patrol. Skyrider Patrol will do a pretty good job of breaking the stall too. Another Guardian's definitely not bad. So we need to Totally Lost. We've got 4 7 mana. We're going to have 8 after we play a land, so we could get rid of that. Like Guardian. We swing with a Guardian. We can still block. 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 Doesn't even feel stupid good. A block. My opponent didn't attack last turn though, so they're thinking they didn't have a good shot. Block. 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 Go down to 2, but kill off pretty much all of my opponent's board. Then I'm not likely to have tons and tons of reach. Okay. I think realistically we have to swing at the Guardian and hope to trade some stuff. Maybe not though. Like if this swings, my opponent just like double blocks. Maybe we need to wait for Finally Lost to be available, and we need to get rid of the Ghostbark Twins this turn. So I think there's no attacks. Like we trade down in that case. Even if we're okay from the crackback, the trade just isn't that good for us anyway. My problem is I'm pretty sure my opponent's got other ways to break out of the board stall. And a lot of those just kill us pretty much outright. Even in Oaken form there's fairly bad. So we can actually Gift of Paradise. Just gain some life. Interesting, my opponent's got like a good splash card maybe. That actually doesn't seem that great. We traded Gearsmith Guardian away for 2 for 1. Oh, can only be blocked by 1 creature. Oh, that's right. So we chump block with Exclusion Mage. Next turn we Totally Lost away the Oaken form and snipe the Bristling Boar. Yeah, this doesn't have Trample or anything, right? Yeah. So that's true. Bristling Boar does a good job of carrying Oaken form there. The double block does not work for us. We've currently got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. I guess let's play Sky Scanner first. We are using up our forest doing that. I don't know why. Play Sky Scanner. Draw our card. Okay. And I guess we want to keep up Totally Lost, so let's just play an island here. And we pass. Oh, that was kind of an interesting jig there. We still don't have great attacks for the Guardian. Well, I guess maybe not abysmally bad ones. My opponent does get the Oaken form back. So would we rather them have Oaken form rather than have Boar? Feels like we'd rather them have Boar, actually. Making 1 big threat. Yeah, actually that's true. So we kind of could get some like random value here. But I think I actually might just want to shrink this. Make a 4 for 4. Alright, rest in peace, Boar. Okay, that's on top of my opponent's library. Let's see if they have a follow-up play. Ooh, Satyr Enchanter? I'm glad they did not get Oaken form back. Windreader Sphinx is a pretty good draw. Let's go ahead and play it here. Don't want to use up all of our lands. What can we still draw? We can still draw Skyrider Patrol and Electrify. Both of those are in play. I guess we want to use those 2. This is going to cost us 7 anyway, so we actually can't play either of those, in which case we want to keep up some blue. Okay, so that's 7. Play our Windreader Sphinx, our finisher, such as it is. Go ahead and swing with Sky Scanner. Draw a card. We have 13 cards left. Okay, even Wind Mage is quite a good draw. Go ahead and play it here. And pass the turn. Okay, so we have an Air Force of 6 power in the air. Well, it's unlikely to have great attacks here now. They're kind of out of cards, and we're going to draw a lot of cards going forward. Okay, so how many attackers they have? This is gone, this is gone. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attackers. We swing with everything, we have 4 blockers. We're taking a minimum of 4 damage. Kind of want to leave Windspreader Sphinx back. It's just such a good blocker. Maybe we draw a couple of cards off Aven Windmage and Skyscanner. Don't think we need to force the issue quite yet. We are kind of out of interaction, so if my opponent can put together another enchantment combo, it's going to be bad for us. It's a lot of lands. We'll play Rupture Spire now. And tap down Island. And the fact that we missed there makes me glad I kept the Windreader Sphinx back. Okay, so we have, if we never swing with the Windreader Sphinx, we have a 4-turn clock as it stands. I wonder if they're playing Gift of Paradise mostly for the Enchanter. Coming in with just those. It's kind of interesting. Just wanting to gain some life. Can't tell if I'm blocking the same one. Okay, this will block the one on top. This one will block the one on bottom. There we go. Yeah. Just gaining some life. Wow, that seems really good for me. That might indicate my opponent doesn't have the +2/+1 pump effect. Because I don't think you do that if you have that. Okay, now they've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attackers. So I think we swing with all 3. We have 9 cards left. I think we will draw on all of these this time around. Okay, another Guardian's great. And more lands are not fantastic, but that's okay. Okay, my opponent's down to 11. Play our Gearsmith. Play our Field Creeper. Play our Meandering River. And now we've got a 2-turn clock on my opponent. Don't think they realistically can win. I really was not a fan of that lifelink swing. If they needed the life, they could have done it a little bit later on, too. Like, I think they just gave up some possible equity there. Okay. Cavalry Drillmaster. So I can make Bristling Boar quite big. We can let it eat our Field Creeper, I suppose. That's good. That adds basically 2 threats to the board for my opponent. Because they get a threat in and also get to hit us. No trample or anything still though, so Field Creeper will just meet its maker here. So this next turn we could just not swing the Skyscanner. Electrify is a great draw. And still potentially have lethal if they kill off the Windreader Sphinx. It's a little bit rough. I guess they probably can't kill that, but if they kill the Aven Windmage, then next turn we don't have lethal, but we don't anyway without Skyscanner. So yeah, I think we're just gonna swing with, I guess, these 2. Draw 2 cards, go down to 3 in the library. What are we still drawing into? Sift we have not found. We've all Guardians in play. We have not found Manolith. Oh, sorry. Let's go to attacks. You actually don't have very many good draws, I don't think. Swing for 2. There's Sift, which we cannot play. Oh, that's right. Skyrare Patrol's pretty good. Okay, take my opponent down to 6. Play an island. Play Skyrare Patrol. Have a Electrify still, although it did terrify me because he used the mountain there. And pass the turn back. Okay, I think we managed to mize our way out of that. My opponent maybe doesn't have a great way to break the stall. I think it was very telling they swung with the Lifelinkers. They may just be relying on like big threats like the Twins and like Auras to get them through. And Starcrown Stag, which is fine, I think, but they don't necessarily have a huge board-filling attack. Okay, we got him. Cool. Interesting. So I think I do want Luminous Bonds pretty badly. Maybe cancel? Totally Lost seems good. Gallant Cavalry, I think would be fine. Anything seemed bad against my opponent. Field Creeper seemed kind of mediocre at that game, but we may need it at some points. Definitely like Exclusion Mage. I think I want Manolith because I do think I want Skyrider Patrol to help us break the stall, and if we're playing Manolith, we're playing Electrify. I'm not sure here. Explosive Apparatus, I guess, is a little bit lackluster. What seems bad? Sift still seems good. Yeah, I'm not sure I want to cut anything, actually. Totally Lost is good for sure, but everything else maybe just seems a little bit better. We could maybe cut one with the machine. Oh, that just has such high upside. Yeah, until my opponent shows something we desperately need to cancel, I'm not going to bring that in. I think let's just run this back. Okay, I'm gonna have to mulligan this one, unfortunately. I think my opponent mulliganed 2, although I actually did not see it quite before. Ooh, wow, even worse. Opponent mulliganed as well, but we're gonna have to go down to 5, which is pretty brutal. Yeah, we will keep this. Should have kept it in hand 1, but that's alright. I think we still have a not terrible chance of playing Surge Mare. Opponent Scryed to the top. Yeah, we have to keep that. We need to find lands, even if we're not playing Surge Mare on time. Okay, this is gonna be rough. I think we have more ways to generate card advantage than our opponent, so if we can stabilize, we can come back in the late game, but it's gonna be rough. Okay, would love to find a land for Skyscanner. Skyscanner into Scholar of Stars potentially saves us here. Come on, land, nice. Yeah, my opponent hasn't had a play for the first 3 turns, which is good news, bad news. Good news because they haven't done anything, bad news because they potentially have some really big stuff in hand. But they haven't been using your mana effectively. Wow, still nothing. Wonder if they're on the flooding half. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. I think I'm going to Scholar of Stars just because it's really good curving into the Gearsmith Guardian. We could go for the Skyrare Patrol, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to effectively use the activated effect. Or I guess triggered effect. Okay, so we'll just be happy for our free draw here. Okay, and we even found a land. Wow, we're drawing out of this Mold of 5 really, really well. This could have gone disastrously for us, but our opponent has had a slow start, and we've had a great draw. If they play anything really terrible, we can Luminous Bonds it. That actually does not count as really terrible. It's big, but if my opponent like equips it up, we really get to get them, I think. So swing with Skyscanner. And play our Gearsmith Guardian. Next turn we'll probably Skyrider Patrol. Yeah, man, this Mold of 5 has been great. Hit all our lands on time, Skyscanner into Scholar into Gearsmith. That's about as good an opening as we can have. Really pretty lucky, all things considered. Okay, come on, go for it. It would be pretty greedy. I think they've got other plays they could make, but it would make me really happy. Oh, nice. As it stands right now, they can't even attack. Okay, well, I'm tempted to just Luminous Bonds and smack them for like 9 here. We might get more value out of this, but getting a 2-for-1 feels pretty good, and we get a lot of damage, and then Skyrider Patrol is a very, pertinent threat going forward. Yeah, this seems pretty good. Opponent may have brought in, Invoke the Divine. You do have 3 mana. Invoke the Divine would get us pretty good, because they get to eat the Scholar of Stars. Maybe play around it. I think the 3 damage is really good, though. It is 1 card, it's a sideboard card. Can we play around it? We swing for 6, my opponent goes down to 12. Maybe we can. Skyrider Patrol is just still pretty good. That's pretty conservative on our part. Plummet. Okay. Yeah, got burned a little bit. That's okay. We will play Tolarian Scholar here and pass the turn back. And then next turn, intend to play our Skyrider Patrol plus Surge Mare. We can't actually get anything into the air quite yet. That's okay. Yeah, I guess maybe should have swung a Scholar of the Stars. Maybe that was greedy. If that 3 life comes back to haunt us, I'll be quite sad. Ooh, Johnny's Last Stand does not look good here either. Could still have Invoke the Divine. They wouldn't have gone for it last turn. They would have just plummeted. But that would mean leaving both of these guys back. Nah, let's go for it. It's still 5 damage on top. Yeah, they just have nothing. Okay, I'm pretty sure we get them here. Let's make sure that we tap this correctly, because I do want to play the Surge Mare and have mana up. Well, I guess we can't have mana up, but have the Surge Mare. Wow, a Mold of 5. Yeah, it looks like my opponent kept kind of a speculative 6 and just didn't get there. I would not have thought we were going to take this game down, but pretty happy to do so. Unless my opponent's got the board wipe. I guess maybe we should play around that. Maybe Surge Mare was aggressive. They do have it, it's pretty good. They could have Johnny's Last Stand, blow up everything. Yeah. Gift of Paradise doesn't do it. One goes up to 6. They still could have mana for the board wipe. Okay, my opponent's conceding. Cool. Hey, managed to take it down. Feels good. Feels good. 2-1. The dream. I'll see you guys for match 4. Alright, we are back for match 4. We are sitting pretty at 2-1 at this point, and I think we've got a keep here. It's not fantastic. Scholar of Stars obviously is a lot better if we have an artifact. We have a couple of splash cards. Something like Manolith would just be a great draw, I think, in this hand. But I do think that with 3 lands and 4 spells, we should keep it and hope we just draw reasonably well and maybe can dig our way out of the hole. If we find either green or red, I think we're pretty happy with Skyrare Patrol or Electrify. And Rupturing Spire is a great, great draw. Not quite as good as, yeah. Nah, it's pretty good. I was going to say it doesn't turn on Scholar of Stars, but it's still very solid here. Opponent has a very similar idea with a Rupture Spire of their own. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead and lay that out. We can both agree that we have some good taste here. Okay. Let's see what my opponent's up to. I wouldn't be surprised to see a similar... Okay, so black, blue, and maybe with a handful of splashes. So Gearsmith's Guardian's a little bit interesting. I guess we'll play Tolarian Scholar and then probably try and play Skyrare Patrol the turn after. If we can stick the Guardian before we play Scholar of Stars, that's pretty good. It's a little bit awkward because Skyrare Patrol is so much better in a late game scenario when we can consistently be using the activated ability, but still as a 2/3 flyer for 4, that's not embarrassing. The problem is we just have so few like really great win conditions, so that I feel bad throwing that one to the dogs early on when I could get got by like a something Spores. Ooh, my opponent missed a land drop though. That's pretty brutal. I do need to run another land myself. I don't know why we're getting some weird lag here. I felt like we were okay earlier on, although full disclosure, I did take a bit of a break between those matches. Let's attack with our Scholar. It's possible they've got... Well, no. I was going to say it's possible they have something like the hired... I can't remember what it's called. The 3/2 that comes in with Flash, but if they had it, I imagine they would have played it last turn. I get some damage in. Yeah, I don't know. Some sort of weird lag here, but that's okay. Play Skyrare Patrol. And really are hoping to just find any land source to play the Gearsmith Guardian next turn. I guess Meandering River would be kind of unfortunate, but just about anything else I'm happy with. My opponent might have something like a Murder. Okay, Plummet. Okay. Plummet in what looked like just a blue-black deck. This is a very high impact, very powerful card, but it's a little bit of a surprise, I guess, out of the blue. Okay, land. Okay, well, Skyscanner is not as good as a land, but not terrible. It also might help us find our land drop. Let's go ahead and swing with our Scholar. Opponent's still missing land drops, so we are still looking okay. Yeah, you guys really will have to excuse the lag. Maybe I'll have to try and reset Arena after this match or something, because it is not fantastic. And Skyscanner. Leaving up our Rupture Spire. And I guess we don't want to end the turn quite yet, because I do want to play a land if we draw it. Man, I love that sound effect for Skyscanner. It's funny. Ooh, Windreader Sphinx. That's good eventually. Not as good as a land just yet, but good eventually. It's funny, the sound effects, I feel like sometimes they just knock them out of the park and they're just stupid good. And sometimes they're like all the cat sound effects, and I just cannot stand them. So my opponent's had a pretty atrociously slow start. We have had not a real punishing attack to like really take my opponent down to size. They definitely could still get back in this game, but I still think we're a little bit ahead. Gearsmith Guardian comes down anytime soon. It's still fairly likely it's the largest thing on board, especially with the Luminous Bonds and Electrify to back it up. So we might just be able to crash a few times once the Guardian gets in, and that'll just be it for my opponent. Okay, Metamorphic Alteration, making a 2/3. Or no, actually, that's true. This is not the clone. It's slightly different. Just turning Skyscanner into a 1/1. Well, we do have Scholar of Stars at this point, so I guess we'll go for that. And hopefully get to draw land now? Still no land. Sift almost guarantees it next turn. Opponent, I think, used Alteration because they had to discard down to hand size there. That's not something I think you're hoping to use the card for, to just downgrade a 2/3 into a 1/1 flyer. That's a slight downgrade, but really quite slight. Opponent did find a 4th land, though, and playing Giant Spider. Okay. So green actually might be a pretty primary color. It's possible they're splashing for black, for instance. So Sift's a little bit awkward because it's going to overdraw us, right? Let's see, if we play Sift, we draw 3. That brings us up to 10 cards in hand. We discard 1 down to 9, play a land down to 8, and we discard something. Getting a land drop seems really important, though. We could just, like, Electrify Bash. Doesn't feel fantastic, though. I don't think it's terrible. I just really want to get these Guardians online, though. I think we're going to Sift. Try and turn this into a land. Okay, we did find a land, finally. What are we discarding here? I guess probably just like a Tolarian Scholar. I think that's probably our worst card. Are we just going to pitch another Tolarian Scholar after that? No attacks. Yeah, we've both my opponent and I have had some awkward draws here. I think I do want to keep the lands because we want to get Windreader Sphinx into play, especially with these 2 Sky Scanners. So I'm just going to pitch another Tolarian Scholar, I think. But Sift did find us lands. We have the fixing. We have the technology. And my opponent's got a lot of potentially good draws here. Omen Speaker. Okay. Scrying, I guess, probably looking for more lands. Yeah, we've both got, like, looked at an impressive amount of our decks and just have not found the lands we need. But at least it's an even derp fight, I guess. And opponent put 2 on the bottom. Are they just not playing lands? Like, that's pretty funny. Okay, Walking Corpse. Sure, seems fine. Gearsmith Guardian will be the biggest thing on the board next turn, and we can start swinging with it with backup, which is nice. I still don't think we have great attacks here. I think I'd just rather build out the board. But let's play our Gearsmith Guardian and pass the turn. No attacks. So this crashes. My opponent tries to do some like multi-block shenanigans. We do have Totally Lost, Luminous Bonds, Electrify. Ooh, Bone Dragon. Okay, that's quite good. We do have the Luminous Bonds for it, which is a clean answer. Electrify also wouldn't be terrible, but... Okay. So, what's our line here? We actually have 7 mana now. I could just play Windreader Sphinx and crash, but I think I want to try and get value and maybe, like, swing with the Gearsmith Guardian, see if we can't set up some bad blocks. I won't be able to swing with these when it comes in. We have to take care of the spider beforehand. We do have 7 mana, but I guess that defeats the purpose. We could take care of the spider and the Bone Dragon this turn. But I think all of our lines start out with a swing with the Gearsmith Guardian, letting my opponent make that block if they're interested. I think it's going to be a while before my opponent gets down to 7 cards in the graveyard. I think I'm okay trading here. Okay, so crash with the Guardian. We definitely are losing a little bit of that arena snappiness that I appreciate so much with the lag here. Okay, just a chump block, fine by me. Okay. So, with that in mind, I think we Luminous Bonds the Bone Dragon. Play... I guess we have 7 mana, which is a little bit awkward. I guess we could just electrify it, but then it could always come back, and that just seems not great for us. Yeah, let's Luminous Bonds. Maybe we should have just gone more aggressive and tried to like take out the spider immediately. Because we're maybe going to do that at some point anyway. Yeah, maybe that's actually not bad. Maybe we pass, plan on electrifying the giant spider at like the end of my opponent's turn. And then play Windreader Sphinx next turn and draw a bunch more cards. Yeah, okay. That seems alright. I think if I take that back, we're probably going to have to use Electrify on the spider anyway. Although, my opponent might have gone for the multi-block, and if they go for the multi-block, we really get them there. Or also just like trading for Bone Dragon, which again I think is okay, because it keeps a removal in hand. Well, maybe we don't want to trade there. Rabid Bite. Well, that's unfortunate. We could Electrify in response to keep our Gearsmith Guardian alive. And then the Bone Dragon's gone, but it does... I guess it's a 2 for 2. But my opponent can bring that back at some point. Which is potentially kind of bad. 5/5 in play seems really good, though. Guardian dies, we kill the spider, we play Windreader Sphinx, we swing for a bunch. That's actually... I think that's okay. That's a good play for my opponent. But I kind of like having the Bone Dragon still under Luminous Bonds. And killing off the spider end of turn seems solid. Just because we get to draw a couple of cards off the Windreader Sphinx immediately. And that's all nice. So we can do this and go to my opponent's end of turn. Okay. Play Electrify on the Giant Spider. Opponent did not give us any better targets. A Pump Spell or something would keep it alive, but I don't think it's incredibly likely. And I did want to make sure that we could answer something if my opponent had gone for another Great Bomb or the like. Okay, we're just going to slam Windreader Sphinx here, I think. There is Essence Scatter in this set, which would get us, I guess, medium bad. But I think we're just going to go for it here. Windreader Sphinx away! So yeah, my opponent looks like they're like true 3 colors, I guess, and just being a little bit greedy. I think Scholar of Stars is okay trading for Walking Corpse. We're going to be happily drawing a couple of extra cards here, which feels pretty good. Windreader Sphinx has been great in this deck. It's just been a fantastic finisher. Hard for opponents to deal with. It's given us very consistent like card advantage. Yeah, I've been quite happy with it. It is expensive. 7 mana is not cheap, but I think that this deck plays fairly well on the grind, so we're getting up there a lot of the time. Disperse, bouncing the Bone Dragon back to their hand. Okay. Yes, we are going to draw 2 cards. Okay, Exclusion Mage next turn to get rid of the Bone Dragon's pretty good. If they want to block with the Walking Corpse, they do not. Interesting. Okay. I think I'd be pretty happy with that trade most of the time. So next turn they replay Bone Dragon. We could play Exclusion Mage plus Totally Lost. Not have quite lethal, but be very close. That's really awesome art. Okay. Play our island. Play Exclusion Mage. Bounce the Bone Dragon. Maybe. There we go. Swing. Okay, that is enough for my opponent. It looks like they had a pretty tough draw there, and we managed to take advantage just a little bit. We were kind of slow too. I think that had we drawn a little bit better, we probably could have finished that game even a little bit faster, but worked out for the best. That Sift, where we discard 2 off of it, not fantastic, but that's okay. Alright. So Bone Dragon is Public Enemy number 1. Cancel actually doesn't answer that incredibly well. Totally Lost isn't terrible, but it's not fantastic either. Don't really think we need any of our white sources. I think we're just going to run this one back. I don't see anything that we really want to change. Okay, my opponent went the distance on the mulligan there, and we have a pretty good hand. Can't complain with Field Creeper into Wind Mage into Scholar of Stars. Definitely will not trade away the Field Creeper if we can avoid it. Let's go ahead and keep. Opponent has kept as well, and hopefully they do not have a much better, more aggressive attack. Okay, Meandering River is interesting. We hadn't really seen white yet. Let's go ahead and play our island. We are going to try and play Field Creeper on curve, which means Rupture Spire is not our best land in the world, but okay, another land is okay. Let's go for the Creeper. Very solid role player in this deck, despite being a pretty mediocre creature on its own. Like, it turns on our Scholar of Stars, which is quite good, and then just being a really nice extra hit for one with the machine. Makes me think that Field Creeper is a card that's actually going to make decks more often than you might expect. Okay, Manalith. Opponent is almost certainly to have just great mana for the rest of the game out, and they are playing a very powerful multicolored deck, so you get all the advantages out of that. Let's go to attack. And we'll end our turn. We have a relatively fast beatdown draw for this deck. One could play something like Bone Dragon here, which would be kind of rough. Okay. Giant Spider is a good answer. We could play Exclusion Mage, but I think I'm just going to be mana efficient and run out the Scholar of Stars here. Hopefully helps keep the lands flowing, and we can work our way up to Wind Rider or Wind Reader Sphinx. No attacks. Pass back. Exclusion Mage at some point will get good value for us, I'm sure. So let's see what my opponent can do with perfect mana. They've had a much better draw this game than they did last game, although we've also had a much better draw for what that's worth. Okay, opponent playing Satyr Enchanter. Okay. Also, not what I would expect. My opponent's deck looks sweet, like they are doing a lot of stuff. I guess we're just gonna play Tolarian Scholar. And Rupture Spire. Gonna hold up the Exclusion Mage for potentially getting rid of an enchantment when it comes down. Satyr Enchanter, yeah, I think that's best. How weird. Okay, I guess let's go Scholar first, Rupture Spire second. And we're getting closer to Wind Reader Sphinx being online. Any removal kills out the Giant Spider and lets us start getting in for a fair amount of damage too, so I think we're doing okay. Okay, we will pay the 1 for sure, and just go ahead and pass back. I feel like, even though our one main big late game bomb is the Wind Reader Sphinx, we still have a reasonable amount of inevitability against a lot of decks. So if we're sitting at 20, my opponent's sitting at 20, and we're going into turn 5 or 6, I think we're usually ahead in that game. Okay, Gift of Paradise on their island. Getting a good draw off the Satyr Enchanter, definitely nice. Turns Gift of Paradise into a pretty bad play at this point in the game, into a pretty reasonable one. Cantrips, gains you 3 life, and fixes the mana, although I guess the mana fixing is... yeah, I guess it's still not fantastic here. It is a lot better than it would have been without the Enchanter effect, though. If it doesn't cantrip, it's quite bad. Okay, Rabid Bite, rest in peace our Wind Mage. That's unfortunate, given that we have a Wind Reader Sphinx coming soon, but... not sure we can do too much about that. So we can cast 1 with the machine for 2, but I actually like that all that much. It's not bad. We have the 3 Gearsmiths in the deck, though, and has the potential to just be so much better. We're not really under pressure. I kind of feel like we just wait. We could Exclusion Mage, Giant Spider, and swing with the intention of getting the Wind Reader Sphinx online next turn. It's maybe just slightly more mana efficient, but I also really do like the idea of hitting an aura if that's something my opponent's trying to do off the Satyr Enchanter. Let's see. I mean, just getting in and bashing isn't terrible. We do use up Field Creeper, which is maybe bad for Scholar of the Stars, which we have a couple of draws for. Maybe we should just cycle the 1 with the machine. Maybe find a Guardian. If we find a Guardian, we get to beat a little bit faster as well. This isn't bad, it's still a draw 2. I guess we'll go for 1 with the machine here. We definitely could have been a lot greedier with this card, but draw 2 is not too bad. It's kind of nice doing when my opponent doesn't have too much in the way of potential interaction either. I guess if they have a Disperse, that would kind of get us, but there's not a whole lot of removal that 2, I don't think. Okay, they do have Disperse. Okay, so counters the 1 with the machine. And I guess I'll just replay Field Creeper. So that's good efficient for my opponent. It ends up being just a 1-for-1, so not disastrous for us still, but that was good. Kept us from divinating, used up basically all of our mana for the turn. Okay, Daggerback Basilisk. Not particularly exciting against my deck since we're not really big in swinging on the ground. Okay, have another island. It's not impossible that my opponent's playing Assert Dominance. That's kind of a scary thought. I'm not sure we can really play around it, though, either. We could play Explosive Apparatus or Exclusion Mage and play it slow, but thinking the Wind Reader Sphinx into play is good rather than playing around an uncommon that I'm not even confident my opponent would have in their deck. I honestly don't know, though. Maybe they would. Okay, they've got the plummet. Ugh, rest in peace. Okay, well, now we're starting to look a little bit bad. We really need to get some Gearsmith's Guardians online. Opponent's not drawing fantastically, though, either. We did find the Guardian. It's pretty nice. So we're going to have to Apparatus away the Daggerback Basilisk, probably. That seems okay. So let's just play our Guardian. Play our Explosive Apparatus. Plan on shooting the Daggerback Basilisk next turn. I don't know, maybe using that one with the machine when we did was a mistake. Our real saving grace here is that my opponent's not doing too much either, though. Like, they definitely could draw Bone Dragon, which would be bad for us, but as it stands, it's really not that awkward. Okay, Sky Scanner's not bad draw. So we could swing with the Guardian, and if they triple block, I guess it's kind of bad. We could use the Exclusion Mage, bounce the Basilisk, swing with the Guardian. Well, my opponent just not triple block. Sky Scanner first, but then we can't necessarily do both of those effects. The two giant spiders are annoying for this deck to fight its way through. Maybe we just Sky Scanner. We could swing with the Guardian and say, like, hey, if you want to really go for the block, it's just going to go poorly for you. Or we could go Explosive Apparatus, kill the Basilisk, bounce a Spider, swing. Want to replay Spider next turn, and then we're kind of in the same boat. But then we have like Exclusion Mage. What are we hoping to draw? More Gearsmith Guardians, probably. Although also like Sift are totally lost. Maybe we do Sky Scanner this turn. And then maybe Apparatus at like the end of my opponent's turn. Okay, another Gearsmith's pretty good. So we could Apparatus and just trade this for like a Giant Spider. That feels so bad though. Yeah, let's just end the turn. Plan on using the Apparatus to kill off the Daggerback Basilisk here. And then start smashing with our Gearsmith Guardians, and hope that a handful of 5/5s are enough to put away this game. We also can still draw Skyrider Patrol, that's our other like big finisher out. And really we're just hoping to dodge Bone Dragon, as far as we know. My opponent playing all of the colors is likely to have some other bombs as well, but that does seem to be the most likely. Okay, put a stop on my opponent's end step, or won't cast anything unless my opponent wants to allow it. Okay. We will Daggerback Basilisk, shoot it. My opponent's got a pump spell, got a pump spell. Cool, it is dead. This next turn we have 7 mana. If we draw a land, we get Exclusion Mage plus Guardian. Kraken. Oh, my turn. It's fine, sorry. Didn't mean to hold things up there. Ooh, Luminous Bonds. We could also just Luminous Bonds out a Giant Spider and make like a reasonably large hit here. We could do that and like bounce the other one. Luminous Bonds is such a nice clean answer to the Drake though. I think I maybe want to try and force that. So kind of like... Exclusion Mage bounce, we get to swing, but maybe we just play Guardian. Just keep building out the board. Yeah, okay. I think just Guardian. We're playing things slowly. I think we're ahead enough that I don't have to like kill myself going for the dragon. It's possible that my opponent just has like some really good finishing cards and will get got by this. But Forest off the top. So let's Exclusion Mage away a Spider. Swing with both Guardians. We just want to go for it. We Exclusion Mage, bounce a Spider, hit the other Spider, swing. My opponent blocks, potentially takes quite a lot of damage. Maybe now is the turn to go for it. Okay, so that resolves. No counter for that at least. And we play Luminous Bonds. This is pretty aggressive line. My opponent doesn't have too much though. We get them pretty bad. And even if they have something, it's not like abysmally bad for us. This is just a lot of power coming in. Unless there's a Settle the Wreckage or something in this set. I think it'll work out. Okay, trading for the Scholar Stars seems reasonable. Okay, opponent goes down to 6. And hopefully we can just force the other Giant Spider to be in like jump block mode at least here. My opponent could maybe have like 2 plays. But that might just be enough to close it out. Okay, take Vengeance, killing off one of our Guardians. Playing Giant Spider, has 3 mana left. Don't think any of it instant speed. Wow, Electrify was a great draw. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go for it. Kill off the giant spider, or try. Okay, and I think that's gonna be a pretty fast, pretty clean victory. We are stalling, which might mean my opponent's about to concede. Looks like. Okay, cool. Well, hey, we are now 3-1. That's pretty good. We did drop ourselves into loser's bracket in the very first game, but we are clawing our way back out of it, and it doesn't feel too bad. See you guys for match 5. Hello and welcome back for match 5. We just took down match 4 to bring us to 3-1 now. I'm not sure that one's going to actually make the final cut. My opponent, I think, was being a little bit too greedy with their mana, and we managed to roll over them pretty quickly both games. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good hand. We've got all of our mana, more or less. We've got a good threat, a couple of removal spells. Yeah, I think this hand's got a lot of potential. Let's go ahead and keep. Start off with a Meandering River. Hope my opponent's not on like the insane fast beatdown plan. I think things will go okay. Uh-oh. Well, it does bode poorly for us. I think we're still going to start with Meandering River. Yeah. We could get the Explosive Apparatus out, but we actually can't play it anyway. And if we have the Meandering River in play, it's possible we draw like a 2-drop and then a 3-drop or something. Okay, hoping for no follow-up here. Uh-oh. Well, Novice Knight on its own isn't fantastic. There aren't a whole lot of equipments in the set, so my opponent would have to be going on the enchantment line, and we actually have some pretty good answers for enchantments. It's still, like, scary, though. This is an aggressive start for my opponent. So let's see. Next turn, if we need to, we can Luminous Bonds. Otherwise, we're probably playing Manalith. Probably going to try and get the Skyrider Patrol down just for defense here. Okay, opponent did not equip up the Novice Knight. Not quite that aggressive. Pegasus Courser is kind of a problem, though. So you can play Tolarian Scholar, but actually doesn't save us very much. You can also play Luminous Bonds, get rid of the Courser. I think I might need Manalith, honestly, though. You can also just Explosive Apparatus, blow up the Diregraph Ghoul. Next turn, maybe Electrify. Skyrider Patrol is better later in the game. If my opponent has removal for it, we'd get wrecked a little bit. Since we spent kind of 2 turns getting it out, maybe we just use Explosive Apparatus here. Although using up our 1 artifact in play is a little bit awkward. If we draw this, we could maybe like... Well, the problem is it flies. If we find a 2-drop, we could play it in addition. This is close. Yeah, I actually think I'm just going to use Explosive Apparatus. Not very efficient, but we managed to save ourselves some life here. Next turn we can play either Tolarian Scholar to shore up the ground. Well, it's not shoring up the ground. It's not mattering that much if there's a Courser in play. 2-headed zombie. Okay, that's bad. Okay. So we actually drew our forest, which is kind of nice. So we could just stick the Skyrider Patrol now. 2-headed zombie is still going to be a problem going forward. We could just Luminous Bonds that. Pass. We play Skyrider Patrol. Next turn we could go Manalith. And that costs us 2 plus Luminous Bonds. Take out 2-headed zombie. It's not terrible. My opponent's down to 2 cards in hand. So we maybe just want to play as defensively as possible. Not take 4. But I'm a sucker for mana efficiency. You guys know me. I think I'm going to go for the Skyrider Patrol. And then try and chain Manalith into Luminous Bonds next turn. So this mitigates 1 damage if my opponent doesn't have anything. Take 5 if they do. I think if they have removal using on Skyrider Patrol, they can do worse than that. Pyromancer's Cage, fair enough. Okay. So we go down to 10. Opponent's got 1 card left in hand. Okay, we play our Manalith, and then we hit with Luminous Bonds on the zombie. Okay, we go back to taking just 1 a turn. and hope my opponent doesn't just have like great aggressive follow-up. Next turn we can electrify plus the Scholar. Let's see what my opponent's got in mind here. Another two-headed zombie. Okay, I think we gotta kill that again. The opponent's definitely showing us that an aggressive like white-black deck can be a thing here. Let's go ahead and play Scholar. Do we want to electrify now to avoid any unexpected surprises? I think we're gonna end. I don't think there's very many combat tricks that will keep the two-headed zombie alive. Okay, open up in the air. Let's go ahead and electrify the two-headed zombie. And now we're really hoping for like Wind Reader Sphinx. I mean, even Wind Mage wouldn't be bad, but Wind Reader Sphinx before else. Man, these two-headed giants are going the distance here. So we can just totally lost away the two-headed giant and stall for time. Probably the line. We just don't have good blocks, unfortunately. Guess we do want to island and play it, because if we find one with machine, we want to be able to try and play as many things as possible. Let's just go to combat. Swing with Untitled Scholar, since it's very unlikely to be blocking here. I guess that's true. My opponent's just taking it here. Oh, they could have blocked with the Novice Knight. I'd kind of forgotten that existed, if I'm being honest, since it hasn't done anything all game. I want to kind of wait as long as I can in case my opponent ever tries to go for an enchantment, though. Yep. We will totally lost. Rest in peace, two-headed zombie. I guess we can wait until my opponent goes through all the attack motions, because maybe they would try and kill us in one turn. Alright, take one. No play for my opponent. Luminous Bonds. Gonna get rid of the Pegasus Courser. Go ahead and swing with our Untitled Scholar. Again, I don't think it actually ends up hurting us too much. I guess if they find, or they have an enchantment for the Novice Knight, but if they had, I think they would have played it and gone for it. I think my opponent should block, yeah. But if they let us through last turn, so might as well try, right? I think we got a Luminous Bonds, the Pegasus Courser, and hope to set up just another creature to eventually block the two-headed zombie. Untitled Scholar actually does match up fairly well if we find another creature. And we are at 7, like, we're not doing terribly. We're out of cards is our main problem, but we have a lot of good draw engines, one with Machine, Sift, Wind Reader Sphinx would obviously be just great here. Okay, Scholar of the Stars, sounds very solid. Do we want to play our green? Yeah, I guess we don't care about green anymore since, or I guess it's exiled, Hermancer's Cage. Okay, can't actually utilize the Gearsmith Golem, unfortunately. But we will make no attacks here, and we'll just try and double block the two-headed zombie. And then let Golem maybe start cracking back at my opponent. This isn't an exceptionally good trade for my opponent. Like, it's kind of a forced block, so if they don't have some sort of trick, and even if they do, like, either of these cards probably trade for it. I guess the Undying, or Supernatural Stamina? No, that's the old one. Unnatural Stamina? Make a Stand. Okay, Make a Stand's actually fairly good. Okay. Yep, two-headed zombie gets us kind of there. Don't know if we could play around that, though. Okay. Now we will play our Gearsmith Guardian, and we will plan on taking 3 and just pass here. Don't have anything else we can do, unfortunately. Still, I think, want to play out our hands. It gives my opponent complete information, but we just have draw in our deck, and it's going to feel really, really bad if we draw something like Sift and can't follow it up. Okay, Skyscanner's a problem. Pretty good draw here this late in the game, since it helps my opponent pressure us just a little bit. And also has the fact that it replaces itself. Alright, we are down to 3. We can't hit a land off the top. Okay, Daybreak Chaplain. Alright, I think my opponent's got us. I guess let's go ahead and pass and give them an opportunity here to not attack, but I think they gotta go for it. Ooh, Knightly Valor. Well, we're dead on a bunch of levels. We do know about Knightly Valor, though. Game. Okay, well, my opponent had a pretty good draw, just kind of slowly ran us out of resources there. Don't hate Invoke the Divine. Opponent's not unlikely to have some Luminous Bonds of their own. They did show us 1 Knightly Valor. Invoke the Divine's not like a super clean answer to that, but it does mean that sometimes my opponent will attack in thinking the creature's larger than it is, and then we get to get them. Totally Lost is also pretty good against enchantments, though, so we could maybe go for that. What seemed bad? Skyrider Patrol maybe is not necessary. It's not a particularly good blocker. I think we need to be able to have as much as we can trying to interact with those two-headed giants. I don't know what we do about this. Cut Skyrider Patrol. It's just nice to be able to finish out games, though, too. I'm not really sure what we'd play over it. Like, we could move more into white and try and play, like, Gallant Cavalry. I guess Cavalry's pretty good against that. Maybe we cut, like, Skyrider Patrol, maybe Electrify, and just go back down to the blue-white deck that we've tried a couple of times when we need to. We do lose out on Electrify, which is not great. We lose out on Manolith, but I think that's okay. So let's see. And then we end up playing a couple more planes. We get to play one more card. So I guess we're probably going to do Trusty Pack Beast. Seems okay. Cancel be alright. I think Totally Lost. Actually, maybe Totally Lost is more important, given that we're going to have a little bit less removal now. Yeah. I think that's close, but I think I like that. Skyrider Patrol just is not the best if we can't really, like, guarantee the game's gonna go really late. I like shoring up our early game a little bit more. Ooh, we're saying we're gonna concede the game, actually, here. I don't know what we can do about this. Uh-oh. Hello? Oh man, this is a sad way to see the series end. I don't have time to jump in and out. I guess we might just be taking a concession there? I don't know what happened. That looks like it bugged. I thought my opponent just hadn't drawn or something. Oh, well. That's a disappointing conclusion, but I guess is what it is at this point, unfortunately. I guess we'll just have to take the 3-2. I mean, that's not tragic, but it's a little bit tragic. Yeah, I'm just not sure what I did wrong there. I mean, I sideboarded kind of up into the last minute. Maybe that threw it for a loop or something, but I guess we'll have to take the 3-2 here. Well, that's definitely a bit of a bummer to have to end the series that way, but I do think the draft went pretty well. I think it was pretty sweet. I guess let's claim our prizes. Still came out ahead, so not too unhappy about that. And let's open some core set packs. I actually haven't really done any for this, and I have a whole slew. Let's pull open... I don't know. Let's go down to like 5,000 gold left. Sounds like a good reasonable number. 26 packs. Yeah, let's go the distance, guys. Alright, got a Mythic Rare Wild card. Got Patient Rebuilding, which I definitely am excited to play around. Vivian Reed, which seems good. I'm not sure if this is really standard playable, but it's definitely a cool card. I'll look forward to brewing with that. Mentor of the Meek, on the other hand, I could see maybe going the distance, so that's cool too. Let's open another 10, and then we'll get into some good old-fashioned individual boosters after that. Yeah, Liliana, that's actually pretty nice. I really want to make a zombies deck and see if this card is good. So Liliana is something I think we would have ended up crafting anyway. Some good stuff here for sure. I guess you have some old Dominaria packs we can open too, although those are pretty much all gray at this point. Transmogrifying Wand with our best friend Mr. Ox. Mr. Ox. Mr. Ox. Windweaver Sphinx. Hey, yeah, MVP of our last draft for sure. Cleansing Nova, sure. I mean, this is fine. I mean, it's no Fumigate currently in Standard, but when Fumigate rotates around, it might be the best opportunity. I guess Settle the Wreckage is going to be around even for a while after that, so I think that'll still be the best of the wipes. But, you know, you take what you got. It's cool to open this many packs. I think this might be the most packs I've ever opened at once. Oh man, Sigil's Sword. That is a good card. Still can't believe we won that one match for my opponent. Started out with that on the play. Alright, and their Liliana's Contract. I think we're pretty close to a playset on that, honestly. Get some last few Dominaria packs. Probably the last ones of these will ever open. Oh, weird. They're not showing as being grade. I guess there's no vault anymore, so maybe they just don't. I guess we're just hoping for wild cards out of these then, probably. Maybe we should sandbag them? I don't really know. That's okay. I don't think we had all our Licher's Masteries yet anyway, so it's going fine. And I guess it does build into more wild cards that way too. Ooh, and even got a rare one, or a mythic one on top. So yeah, we've got I think a pretty good set of wild cards going forward. If you guys want to see like a certain constructed deck, I'd definitely be happy to play it. Let's pull our deck back together just a little bit here. Take one last look at it before we go. Sorry I don't have a better way of viewing this, but hopefully it'll work for you guys. All in all, I think that let's actually get out here. I don't want to listen to that noise over and over. All in all, I think that the deck went super sweet. I really I loved Windreader Sphinx. I'm definitely looking forward to playing that again in the future. We got to play a pretty cool deck with all of the, I guess, close to mono blue, but also splashing for a couple of token good cards out of red, and then Skyrider Patrol, a couple of Luminous Bonds. Gearsmith Guardian continues to be impressive to me. Scholar of Stars did good work. Yeah, I think this was just an all-around pretty solid artifacts deck. It was a blast to play. Like I said, I'm a little bit sad that our series got cut short, but it is what it is. Again, it's a beta. You can't expect everything to run together completely smoothly. All the same, thanks so much everyone for watching, and I'm going to post this, I guess, pretty much as soon as I can. I'm actually doing this not only Saturday night, but, or I guess Friday night. We are into Saturday morning, so I'm probably only going to finish up editing this a couple hours before you guys see it. So, cool. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.